Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Pizer. I started my career over 25 years ago and worked my way up the corporate ladder in organisations such as National Mutual, Ernst & Young, Roy Morgan Research and Museums Victoria. Even while I was really busy running my own departments and teams, people would come and ask me for help with theirs. What do I do with this tricky person? How should I phrase this email? Will I get the response I want? I was even asked to show another department head how to turn around the nobody wants them employees into star performers like I'd been somehow magically able to do by my CEO at the time. Why did this keep happening? Nobody knew how I did it, and I didn't either. That was until later on, after having done the work. And by that I mean completing my award-winning PhD research on relationships and emotions in the workplace, registering as a psychologist, and then further obtaining endorsement as both an organisational and counselling psychologist. I came to realise I was embodying what I now call attuned leadership. And I've been helping others do that now since I started my own business in 2000. It started out as a side hustle while I was studying, but I discovered I liked it. It means that I can now bring that hands-on decades of corporate leadership experience combined with that academic rigour to the coaching I do today with executives and other ambitious professionals. Overall, I'm a leadership expert. I became obsessed with leadership and the quality of the relationship people have with their leaders during my PhD research. People were telling me about their successes and failures and how they'd trade off all sorts of indignities for their job and a career. It was always their leaders who made the biggest difference between having a good time at work or not. I thought if only these leaders knew about how their people secretly feel, how much they were holding back, and how miserable it was. It was making them, and it was kind of heartbreaking. And I think if those leaders knew, they'd want to improve things. We spend so much time at work. It's such a potential source of joy and fulfillment. I think more people should have more of that, more of the time. What I find is that most leaders are really well-intentioned, just not so well-attuned. For example, I was recently working with Gabby, a senior executive in a pharmaceutical company. She started out overwhelmed and exhausted, complaining about one of her direct reports. According to her, they didn't know what it meant to take responsibility for your work, to be accountable. So she'd cop, "What do you think?" without thinking themselves, or "I thought you were going to do it," kind of irritation. In our work together on her becoming a more attuned leader with this direct report, she started to see things differently. She took a different perspective. She was able to take back control and set clear boundaries. This meant Gabby started taking more time to learn what was missing. What did they need to get the job done? Making sure they had that, along with letting them know she had their back if anything went wrong. And all that helped this person feel safe to have a go, to step up and take that responsibility. It was such a relief for Gabby, and it was so much better than the complaining and the rescuing the project by taking it on herself, working late and on weekends, just at that last minute, of course, to meet the deadlines. So Gabby was no longer running herself ragged and at risk of burnout. And that direct report, they just said it's been good working with her this year and they're looking forward to learning more from her next year. First time ever. Understandably, Gabby was thrilled. I was too. Working with me is a little bit like having a secret weapon because people don't necessarily know what you're doing differently, just that they like working with you more. Something's changed and they like it. And it's you. It's the clarity you develop as you begin to know what to do and say when to increase your impact. What makes me a little bit different is that I've had a really diverse career prior to setting up my practice. I've worked in marketing, HR, management consulting, market research, academia, and even a short stint with mildly intellectually disabled adults. Also across diverse organisations, from community-based to ASX listed, from privately owned to government, from local to global. My career was so different to any of my more stable peers. Today it's pretty normal, more like I'm a millennial or Gen Z, but way before any of them were even a twinkle in anyone's eyes. Always a bit of a square peg in a round hole. Bit different. I also love to learn, so while I was working, I was also studying. I registered as a psychologist and got the endorsements I mentioned earlier in counselling and organisational psychology, was credentialed as an executive coach, did a master's in research looking at career success in a professional services firm, and won 7 awards and scholarships for my PhD on emotions and relationships in the workplace. I presented that PhD research at local and international conferences and have 3 book chapters published in edited texts. And even before podcasts were a thing, I ran this online series called Crack the Leadership Code. From 2014 to 2017, I conducted over 100 interviews with leadership experts from around the world. The series reached thousands of people each year from over 100 countries. I've also been featured widely in the media, including Business Insider Australia, Channel 9, Radio National, 6PR, The Age, the Sydney Morning Herald, and news.com.au. The Attuned Leadership program is about helping executives and ambitious leaders refine their leadership. The way it works is that we work together for around 12 months. We start with a 3-month Attuned Leadership program where we identify where you are on the Attuned Leadership journey and where to focus your efforts within that Attuned Leadership model. We start and end strong with fortnightly coaching sessions and email support in between. You'll also get access to my leadership library, which includes previous leadership programs I've run and ebooks to support your learning journey. I'll send you a hard copy of 3 of my favourite business books that I've found help other people along the way. There's optional 360 services, whether qualitative or using my preferred existing evidence-based tool. After the initial 3-month program, I offer a continuing program, and the time you need depends on where you start your journey. So if you want to elevate your influence, insight, and gravitas in the next 12 months, and to gain clarity and build high-quality connections with your boss, your team, and other stakeholders, then I'd love to hear from you. If you're feeling stuck or no longer gaining the traction you want, then click the link below and set up a time to talk. I love working with people who care and want the clarity and success that comes from being a more attuned leader. Good one, Pizer.